find ourselves a lot of times kind of focusing, even on this channel, about really just how this business is so good, how it's changed my own life, my family's life, our legacy, kind of the travel that I've been able to do because of it. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of pros to being in the insurance industry. And today we're going to cover a lot of my favorite ones, right? And maybe not all of them. But I also want to kind of switch gears a little bit, because so many times we focus on those positives, those good things. And I also want to, if you're looking at getting into this business, I want you to know that there are some cons, so to speak, some negative aspects to being in this business. I want to cover what those are as well. So get ready, buckle up, listen in, make sure that you are hitting that like button, that you're subscribing to the channel. We definitely want to celebrate with you all the wins that you get coming out of the material, the content that's delivered here. So I'll start with the first, to me, I think is one of the biggest pros as to being in the insurance industry, the insurance and financial services industry is, well, it's simple. I get to work for myself. I get to be in business for myself, right? And that alone creates really what we call freedom. Right? Really the freedom to be able to live on your terms, to be able to kind of have whatever ambitious goals that you decide to have, but then also to be able to couple that with being able to do that in a fashion, in a form that you control your own destiny, right? I think that's huge. So many times, we get trapped, or we feel like we're stuck on this wheel, this hamster wheel in life, and that everything is out of our control. And one of the things that being in business for ourselves allows us to do is be able to control really the outcome, the whole situation. And so that's a positive. Now, with every positive, there can be some negative that comes with that. And I think the negative to that is, you work for yourself. And so your income, it will obviously always be directly connected to your own effort and what you kind of put into being an insurance agent. You're getting into the business, you're getting a license, and well, if you just get the license and you do nothing more, you're not going to earn an income. If you get started and you get onto a system, maybe you got leads, like we've got leads, you start to take some leads and you make a couple phone calls and you get your feelings hurt and you stop. You're probably not going to earn an income. And so part of, that's a positive, that freedom, but that also, if we don't take action, that amount of freedom could also lead us to a path of kind of despair. Now, I think another pro, another positive to being an insurance agent, to being in the insurance industry, is that it kind of goes along with the first one, but you get to create your own schedule. To a lot of people, I know a lot of people in my age group that are juggling all these different things in life, and maybe you've got kids, you've got a family, or maybe you don't, but you've got a passion for photography, or you've got a passion for this, or whatever your passion is. I've got a buddy of mine, shout out to the cowboy, that loves rodeo, and he gets to keep up with that passion as well as have a thriving insurance business. And that's one of the perks, that I can schedule my business, my work around my passions, my life, and what's happening in my family. It's always going to be something that to many people is something that reinforces that control that we were just talking about. I guess there again, the negative side of that is that you get to dictate your schedule, right? And so there again, when I work for myself, I get to control the outcome. But I also, a lot of people come from a W-2 kind of lifestyle. If you're not familiar with just how you build out the perfect schedule for yourself, stay tuned, by the way, because we're going to be talking about that on a very, very upcoming episode. But that's one of the hardest things to juggle, is how do I go from having to punch the clock and be somewhere at 8 o'clock and get off at 4 and know that that's my work schedule, to being able to completely control that and what that looks like. Sometimes we can form some pretty bad habits and we can let ourselves off the hook a little bit. Another positive is that you get to do this from anywhere. Literally from anywhere across the globe, we have the ability with the technology in today's age that we can really work not just from home, but we could work from vacation. We could work from that family gathering that we've got to go into. We can work from the travel that you've got to do with your children for this, that, or the other. We can work from literally anywhere. Some of the best stories in my business are the agents, the people that literally get to go out and be on vacation with their family, hanging out, working poolside with a client and helping them being able to protect their own legacy. That's a pretty special thing and a position that we get to be in as insurance agents. Now, I guess if there's a negative to that at all, I would say make sure that you're checking out what the internet connections are like, especially if you're going to some really foreign, far-off place. You're traveling that far on vacation. You want to make sure that your technology is going to work while you get there. Connectivity can be an issue in some places. Maybe you've got to go into one of those public Wi-Fi spots that they'll have in some of these countries, and so just making sure that you're aware of that. You have a way to actually make these transactions while you're traveling and while you're spending that time enjoying the best side of this business. And I guess. The other positive, or another positive I should say, is probably the most impactful one if we really know the meaning of what we get to do as insurance agents. And I don't really care what kind of insurance agent you are, whether that be health insurance or whether that be you're doing car and auto and home insurance, or like I do, and a lot of the subscribers on the channel, a lot of life insurance agents. But what we really get to do is to be able to change really people's financial outcomes should the worst happen, to be able to make sure that and protect the incomes and the assets that they've set up for themselves and their families, and make sure that their legacies continue to move on. And that is a big, deep responsibility, but it's something that gives us a sense of purpose, right? We're able to go and understand that what we do, we're not just doing it for a paycheck, but we're doing it really to be able to help and impact some people in some positive ways. We're leaving every client better than what we found them, and that's a really deep passion and responsibility. You get to earn while you learn is another positive. Now, I'll tell you the negative side of that. Negative side of that is that if we don't do that earn while you learn part right, we can get this thing that we like to call analysis by paralysis, right? Or paralysis by analysis, I'm sorry. And so what that means is we'll get so stuck on all this stuff being new, and we need to learn everything, and we need to figure out all of these different aspects of the policy, and we so much so that we never get a chance to go out and help a family, to do what really we just talked about, make an impact, a positive impact on people's lives. Listen, the tendency to really want to know more is always going to be there. The best way to do this is to always be earning while you're learning, to learn a little bit and then go out and take and put that to action, to learn a little bit more and put that to action, and to don't be afraid to ask questions, right? There's gonna be some things that come up that you didn't know, but the way that we learn often is that we put ourselves in a situation where we have to go out and seek the answer. Now you know it, you can't erase it. I guess the best place to kind of be in is being able to understand the awesome opportunity that we have to be able to really go out and create an income while we learn the business, as opposed to needing to know it all before we get started. I think one of the other pros, and the last one that I'll discuss, is really we get to be fired up about the opportunity because of some of the incentives that are given in this industry. You're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and they really celebrate hard work and work ethic and hustle, right? But they celebrate that in some of the biggest ways. I mean, I'm talking about cash bonuses. I'm talking about some trips. I think that one of the biggest things for me is being able to take the pressure off, taking some trips and vacations that normally you would maybe never take because of the price tag on them. You could think of so many other things that you could do with that money, obviously to provide for your family, or to get ahead or in your savings or your retirement or whatever your goals are. A lot of times, guilt will keep us away from taking those kind of trips, and we're talking about some 5-diamond trips to some of the best places in the world. I mean, I know personally, me and my wife, we've been to places like Dominican Republic, we've been to Hawaii a couple times, we've been to Costa Rica a couple of times, we've been Cancun, Cabo. I mean, you name it. There's tons of trips, tons of places, opportunities to be able to commit to something, saying, hey, I'm going to go after it, and be able to see yourself hit that trip and celebrate by taking your whole family along with you on some of these trips, all inclusive, and being able to just really enjoy life together. And I think that's one of the coolest things. But I'll tell you a negative to that. A negative to that is you won't do that being average, right? I love the fact of this channel. I know that the viewers on this channel aren't people that want to be average, and the average producer won't necessarily produce enough to make that carrier trip, because it's a lot of carriers is going to be reserved to the upper elite of that sales force, and we're talking about nationwide. I've had the privilege of being in that category, and I know many of you can too. It's all going to be about the commitments that you make. If you can lock in and say, hey, I'm going to win this trip, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to win this particular trip, I think it's already done for you pretty much at that point. But if you slack off, if you decide that, man, something else is more important than your business and keeping your focus where it should be, it's pretty easy to be knocked off that board and to miss out on some of the coolest trips. So I hope that this video gives you some insight on, especially to the person who's looking at getting into this business for the first time. I hope it allows for you to see, yes, this business is super attractive. I love it. I found a home. I'm not going anywhere else. But there is some cons to it, some negative issue, if you will. But I believe every single negative in this business it really is going to revolve around. It's going to revolve around me, right? And it's going to be my mindset, my activity, my schedule, me taking ownership of the business itself. But if you'll commit to it, right? If you'll go out and really put everything you got into it, you can't fail. You can't fail unless you quit. Hey, enjoyed spending this time. I'll see you on the next one.